Welcome back, everyone. This is the Law Precision, the second installment of the WristClocks series. If you haven't heard the first book yet, you'll find the link to the entire series in the description below. The full playlist is available, and if you finish that, you can then continue with the Law Precision. For those returning, let's continue. Now, this video is going to be chapter 17 and chapter 18. I hope you find what you're looking for. Chapter 17, the final ticking. The imposter looked up just in time to see the door close. Michael said nothing. No dramatic entrance, no flourish, no weapon. He simply stood. The imposter's breath caught. For a moment, he wasn't sure if the man before him was real. Another phantom from the corner of a mirror, a figure he'd felt behind the spine like a metronome just slightly out of sync. But this wasn't a hallucination. This was a reckoning. "Who are you?" the monster croaked, his throat dry, cracking. He hadn't spoken in days. Hadn't needed to. Michael didn't answer. He stepped forward, eyes passing over the room, fast food wrappers collapsing in on themselves, a heap of torn sketches in the corner. The stolen journal. One of the boys' journals, swollen from sweat and failure. Michael reached for it, turned a page, then another. His movements were slow, exact. His gaze didn't waver. Only one line left his lips. "You never listened, only repeated." The imposter lunged, not with courage, but with the last spasm of a drowning thing. Michael slipped aside, as if in the air itself moved past him. The imposter stumbled into a wall, clawed at the desk for balance. Michael was already behind him. One gloved hand guided the imposter's head gently to the table. The other held the syringe. A soft hiss, controlled breath. The imposter stilled, muscles seized in a slow collapse. His mouth worked without sound. Michael knelt beside him. "You killed the boy because he had heard the rhythm before you. You saw his silence and filled it with your noise." The imposter's pupils trembled, foam collecting at his lips. "I'm not here to teach you," Michael continued. "That grace was never yours." From his coat, he drew a small clock, brass and ironwork, immaculate. The second hand ticked with perfect precision. He placed it before the imposter's eyes. You wanted the symbol, then sensation. You never cared for the balance. The imposter twitched, lungs clawing for air. Michael's hand rested lightly on his shoulder. He leaned close enough for the words to land where hearing fails and knowing begins. "You aren't a failed student," he whispered. "You were never invited to the lesson." He rose. No kill shot, no flourish. The journal, the boy's original, slid back into Michael's coat. At the door, he looked over his shoulder one final time. The law of precision isn't about death. It's about knowing what must be stopped so the rest can move. The imposter released a final, uneven sound, somewhere between a sob and a tick. Michael left before it finished. Down the fire escape, the city hummed with evening. Michael walked slowly, head bowed, not in shame, but in reverence. Above him, 20207. The room held the final breath of a man who had tried to imitate time. Only the law knew how it would end. Michael didn't look back. The wind shifted, and somewhere deep inside the gears of the world, a second hand paused and began again. Give me a sec. Sorry. Oh gosh. Hot chocolate. We always need that. You got the handle. Chapter 18. Second hands. The seventh body hadn't dropped yet, but the city was holding its breath. Brent felt it in the silence between passing cars, the way the store owners lowered their voices when the clock carvings came up. The people weren't waiting for justice. They were waiting for the next hour to be claimed. He looked up from his desk. Marcus stood at the caseboard, arms crossed, eyes scanning the array of names, photos. 6 victims, each tied to a specific time. Overnight, the pins and strings had shifted. The lines didn't connect people anymore. They outlined something else. A clock. What if it's not random? Brent said. Not even symbolic. Marcus raised a brow. I mean the times themselves, Brent went on. What if they point to something real? Factory operations, permit filings, public hearings. Things that actually happened at those hours. Marcus was already moving to his laptop. I'll pull the permit logs for 2011, 2012. The victims weren't random. Bryce Deaton, 6 o'clock, factory supervisor. First to sign off on the 2011 operational expansion. A man who reclassified safety checks as non-essential. Under his watch, complaints about headaches, nausea, and visible pipe corrosion went nowhere. Arnold Teague, 815, building inspector, took bribes to falsify safety inspections during the factory's scrutiny period. His signature in Grace Delaney's work section locked exactly 3 days before Deaton's approval. Staring crabs. 311. Contractor. Specialized in removing safety labels from pallets of lead-based materials. His body was staged. Photo alive in a cafe. Body later found in a train station. Movements to stillness. A deliberate shift in the killer's language. Ernest Harrow, 206, foreman, once petitioned for a lead exemption to keep his section open. Officially died of natural causes in 2016. Now exhumed, the carving was fresh. The only surviving document with his signature was the zoning memo, initialed simply M. Eleanor Voss, 106, board member, corporate lobbyist. Suppressed early lead toxicity research to shield Roland Cohn Industries from lawsuits. She never received a carving, just a shattered clock in her photo. She's not gear. She just filed the plans. Grace Delaney, 306, factory line worker, youngest victim. Terminal lead poisoning. No sign of struggle, no trauma. Just clean, carving, almost gentle. She wasn't taken, the man had said. She was released. Marcus scrolled through the archived scan of meeting minutes from 2011. Wait, he said, tapping the screen. City Council, October 14th. He finalized all zoning exceptions before 6 o'clock that day. Bryce's time, Brant said. Antique, logged at 8:15, 3 days earlier. The timestamps weren't just thematic, they were real. This is a ledger, not a message. Marcus nodded grimly. Every time is a receipt. Third floor of the municipal library. Quiet as a bone. The teen sat with a yellowed report, misfiled decades ago, on a lead fix of a developing mines. It described how exposure slowed the time inside the body. Reflexes dulled, memory fractured, emotion lagged. Time moves wrong when you're poisoned, the boy in the article had said. He underlined it in pencil. He reminded of Grace. He watched the true crime video and followed the case forms. But now he followed something else. The law beneath the crimes. A shape in the string, a rhythm in the rot. He hadn't carved, not yet. He had bought a clock from a second-hand store, old, brass, broken. He didn't fix it. He just listened. Check this out, Marcus said, waving Brant over. A spreadsheet of factory work logs. Most lead-related complaints happened in the early morning, but 2 appeared after hours. One on March 16th, 2012, carried a signature. Amelia Carr. Brant froze. That name keeps surfacing. She didn't die like the others, or at least not yet. But she's not innocent. Or she was the wrong kind of guilty. Marcus turned back to the board. You ever wonder if we're late to this? If this started before the first carving? Grant didn't answer, because he had already felt it. Something ticking in reverse. Inside a bookstore trash bin, a torn receipt fluttered. Secondhand clock, paid cash, no name. Inscribed initials, RC. Tagline, time remembered.